Hey, what's up, everybody? How you doing? I'm Dr. Boyce Watkins from Your Black World and the Black Business School. What's going on, everybody? On Periscope. Now you guys may be looking at me horizontally now because I put my phone on like a vertical slant because I'm trying to charge it up actually. I have these crazy cell phone things, but anyway, what's going on, everybody? I hope that you're doing well. I haven't gone live for a few days, so I wanted to chime in and say hello. And I hope that you are feeling as powerful as I'm feeling right now. Well, Prosperitus says, Doc, what's good? Man, everything is good. Everything is good. Everything's good. They say it's all good in the hood. If you're on Facebook, tell me if you can hear me. Let me know if you can hear me because sometimes I have trouble with people on Facebook hearing me. I know the Periscopers can hear me. I know everybody can hear me on Periscope. If you're not following me on Twitter or Periscope, you can look up Dr. Boyce Watkins 1. That's Dr. Boyce Watkins with the number 1. Somebody stole Dr. Boyce Watkins, so don't go to twitter.com/Dr. Boyce Watkins. There's some dude who took that name, and I have no idea who it is. I guess there's probably some way for Twitter to fix that or something, but I just put the number 1 after my name. That's it. That's one thing you gotta wonder about. Like when you get out there and you get more well known, somebody will literally, I forgot what they call it. I think they call it what do they call it? Parking your domain, not parking it, squatting or something like that. They have some stupid name for it where people will take your name and buy it. And that's what I tell, whenever I talk to anybody who's gonna be big or out there, I tell them, like, go lock in your domains for your business, because the minute somebody knows it, they can make some money by pretending to be you or pretending to be your brand. They will do it, and it will get ugly. It'll be a mess. Somebody says, I can hear you when you are coming. When are you coming back to the DMV? You know what? I think the DMV is on our schedule. I just met with my team this weekend, and my manager, I'm a horrible person to manage because I'm very difficult to control. But she gave me a schedule, and I know she put DC on there on the schedule. I just don't know what month. So believe me, as soon as it happens, I'll let you know. In fact, if you want to keep up with, a lot of the stuff in terms of where we're touring and what we got going on, you can actually sign up and get a free e-copy of my book. If you go to drboycewatkins.net, that's drboycewatkins.net, not .com, drboycewatkins.net. You can actually sign up there, get a free e-copy of my book. It Takes a Village to Raise the Bar. And you get a chance to just kind of know everything that's kind of popping, everything that's happening. So feel free to go sign up at drboycewatkins.net. All right, so let me first ask you also if you are able to share this, share this feed to your Facebook, your Twitter, your Instagram. Invite your Twitter followers, or hit the little button to follow. If you're on Twitter, there's a little button at the bottom on how you can follow. Facebook, there's also follow buttons and share buttons, stuff like that. Share and follow real quick, because one of our goals, one of our big dreams, is that we're trying to develop just nationwide distribution of ideas for Black people, where Black people can actually talk to each other without asking for a white man's permission. Dun-dun, right? I know a lot of y'all just really don't believe that we could ever possibly live in a world where white people are not like our parents, where white people are deciding when we should get to talk to each other and deciding what we can share with each other. But I have a dream, y'all. I got a dream, and my dream is that we can actually do what we want without giving a flying shit about whether or not white people approve or disapprove. No disrespect. If you're white and you're on here and you're listening, you're welcome. You're a brother. You're a sister. You're one of us. You'll never be turned away. But in this house, this is our house. This is Black people's house. There are very few Black-owned media outlets in this country. Most Black media outlets are owned by white people. The Root is not owned by Black people. The Root.com is owned by Univision. Essence Magazine is not owned by Black people. Essence Magazine is owned by Time Warner. BET is not owned by Black people. BET is owned by Viacom. Even TV One is not as Black as it looks. TV One is heavily Black influence, but it's not completely Black owned. Go look at the management. Don't believe me. I'm not, because I ain't trying to start nothing here. I ain't trying to go attack nobody, but I want you to go look it up. If you're a person that cares about Black ownership, then you need to go know what's really black owned and what's not, because there's a difference between serving black people and selling black people. And basically a lot of so-called black media outlets, their goal is to pull together a black audience so they can sell it to corporate America. Essence magazine was bought by Time Warner because they said, oh my God, if we add the Negroes to our portfolio of offerings to corporations, then corporate America will give us more money because we can deliver the Negroes. That's what these outlets do. Now, again, there ain't no dissing though. This ain't hating. This is just truth relating, if you want to call it that. That's what it is. I'm just telling you the truth, and that's it. And that's, y'all do with it what you want. And I'm not attacking anybody. So, because people think you're attacking them if you tell the truth, I guess, because you're not going along with the lie. But I'm not doing that. I don't play that stuff. All right. So, one thing I want to show you all is I actually want you to see a clip. I was thinking about this before I show this clip though. I want to tell you what was going through my mind today, right? I was thinking about life. I was actually at the gas station pumping up the car to fill it up with gas before I dropped it off at the rental car place. And as I was sitting there pumping the gas, I was thinking, somehow it hit me, and I was thinking about my own life as a black man, right? And I was thinking about the fact that if I had done what most black people do, if I had waited for white people to give me an opportunity, whether it's in corporate America or at a university or whatever, I never would have gotten that opportunity to be the person that I'm meant to be. There is almost no parallel universe within the human imagination where I could be working around white people and be the same scholar that I am when I'm here working with you. Nowhere. No white institution where I'm surrounded by white folks where I could do what I do the way I do it and be rewarded for this behavior. There's no place. Now, the behavior is not problematic. I'm not hurting nobody. I like to believe I'm helping a lot of people. But there is almost no place I can think of in corporate America, white America, white American institutions anywhere where I can be the scholar I am right now and have somebody who is my boss reward me, promote me, give me additional raises and accolades for being the kind of scholar I am now. Now, why does that come up? It came up because somebody had mentioned something about black men not being, being not just the most unemployed, but having a huge wage gap. And I'm going to show you a clip on this. Dr. Roosevelt Mitchell III did a video where he was talking about, it's like a news clip for Your Black World News, where he's talking about, the wage gap between black men and white men and how it's grown beyond what it was in the 1950s and 1960s. And I remember thinking about just how I said, if I had done what people had told me to do, if I had just worked hard, went to school to get a good job, I would be miserable right now. I would feel like a failure right now. I would feel frustrated. I would feel so marginalized right now. And it made me just think about this. And I was just thinking more deeply about it because I was thinking about that and thinking also about what, like what's going on with the Walter Scott case and how they can't even find a guilty verdict for a man who was seen on video shooting a black man in the back as he's running away in cold blood and then planting the taser next to him. And you still won't issue a guilty verdict? That just was such a slap in the face reminder of what kind of country we live in. If I had not learned how to create my own opportunities, I would not have any opportunities because the system is not built to sustain a black man like me or a black person like me, whether I was male or female. The system's not built for that. And I thought more deeply about how we as black people are trained to depend and to rely on a system that is not built to feed us. We're trained to rely on this system to give us everything we need. Why would you spend your life relying on a system to feed you when that system is fundamentally designed to starve you to death, to freeze you out, to not give you the nourishment you need economically, spiritually, or otherwise? Why would you do that? So what I would just generally say, and I just want you to really think about this, and it's so crazy because it literally just hit me. I said, man, if I had not just sort of went wild and decided to, tack on, business knowledge and learn how to start a business, I never would have been able to be successful in white America, corporate America, unless I chose deliberately to become somebody totally different from who I am on the inside. If I abandon my community and decide I want to go just be a corporate Negro and be quiet and go along and fit in and do everything they tell me to do, I would have been okay. But corporate America is not built for somebody like me. Academia is not built for somebody like me. And a lot of y'all feel the same way. I mean, there's a lot of black people who feel the same way. I just think that a lot of us feel trapped because we're too scared to really be ourselves. We're really too scared to do what actually makes sense. Instead, we don't trust ourselves, and we will go and we will sit here and we'll put on the mask every day. And we end up miserable and unhappy and depressed and frustrated and with hypertension and heart disease, and you don't know why you're feeling that way. Well, a lot of it's because a stressful environment kills you. A stressful environment depresses you. It doesn't make you feel fulfilled on any level. And that was on my mind, and I had to share that because I think I wanted to make sure that I let you know this so that you wouldn't think you were crazy if you feel the same way. Now on Periscope, I see people talking. I think there's a troll in there somewhere, and everybody's getting mad at the troll. Don't worry about the trolls. I don't pay attention to the trolls. I feel sorry for a troll because I'm thinking that your life is so pathetic that all you have time to do or all you do with your free time is sit on the internet and chase somebody down and make stupid comments. That actually makes me feel bad for you because you're kind of wasting your life. And it's also a sign of respect, believe it or not, because somehow I must get under your skin enough that you're going to spend your whole life chasing me down so you can talk shit about me, but I'm not going to chase you down. I don't care enough to go on your page and talk about you. That don't matter to me. So anyway, I don't even read the troll comments. I literally look right past them. So if you think it bothers me, then don't worry about it. I just want to it bothers me that it bothers you, but it doesn't bother me that they're here. So they can come here. They're always welcome. I'm glad they're here. All right, so let me calm myself down because I start thinking about this and I start just, really reflecting. And the older I get, I think the madder I get about the lies. I think that it doesn't stress me out to the point where I feel, like I'm being victimized by any of this. I think it bothers me because I'm thinking, oh my God, I can't believe it took me till 45 years old to figure that shit out. It's so basic. It's so rudimentary. Why did it take me this long to figure it out? Well, that's because brainwashing is really, really deep. I was watching Curiosity Stream TV, and they were talking about the brain and how deep the subconscious is. And when you're getting messages sprinkled on you from an early age that are unhealthy for your subconscious, it's hard to break out of that stuff. It's really hard to break out of that. Let's jump in here. Let me show you this clip. I want you guys to see this clip. If you're on Periscope, I'll just flip the camera around so you guys can watch it. This is a quick clip from Dr. Roosevelt Mitchell III, who does Your Black World News, and he's actually talking about black males and the wage gap between black men and white men, and how white men, the wage gap has actually reached levels that it hasn't been since the 1950s. Now I'm trying to. I'll be dang on it. Hold on, give me 1 second. Something right here. My computer's freezing. Uh-oh. You know what? I think I'm gonna have to. I might not be able to play the clip because okay, wait. For 1 second, my mouse was frozen. Okay, now it's unfrozen. I don't know. Maybe me picking up my phone made my mouse freeze. But okay, here we go. All right, so you guys should see the clip now. Tell me if you see it.
White earnings gap narrowed during the civil rights era, but
and I'm gonna turn it up for you guys so you can hear it. Maybe I can find a way to play it. Hold on. Oh, I can't even play it for you guys. I'm so sorry. So if you're on Periscope, I can't play it for you. But if you're on Facebook, then you can see it. Okay.
Has fueled growing salaries for blacks at the top.
So give me 1 second. So if you want to hang out, you can hang out. I don't want to talk because I don't want to interrupt what they're hearing on the other side.
Working class jobs have ultimately ruined job prospects for those with a high school education or less. Baer said that the broad economic changes we have seen since the 1970s have clearly helped people at the top of the ladder, but the labor market for low-skilled workers has basically collapsed. The paper co-authored by Curran Charles of the University of Chicago also revealed that the number of non-working men overall has grown substantially over the past few decades. The number of white men not working jumped from 8% in 1960 to 17% in 2014. The numbers were much worse for blacks, as 19% of black men were reported as not working in 1960 compared to 35% in 2014. These numbers included men who were incarcerated or just could not find work. Bear said that the stark disparities could have been much worse if black men or black people in general had made educational gains over the span of that 75 years. Ben and Charles' findings showed that while educational achievement has opened up new doors for opportunity for the wealthy and blacks at the top, educated blacks, there needs to be a renewed focus in closing the racial achievement gap and offering new job prospects to lower skilled and less educated workers. And this is clearly why education and the state of public education is so important. But I would love to hear what you think about
I'm
this.
trying not to talk too much because there we go. Okay, so the file. All right. So I think I should be back. Okay, now let me know, you guys, if you're on Facebook. Tell me if you were able to hear me talking while Roosevelt was talking, because I'm really still learning how this technology works on this thing that I'm using. And I hope you guys were able to see the full clip. If you weren't able to see the full clip, let me know. But basically the segment, I wanted you guys to see this segment because according to Dr. Mitchell, when you talk about, black males in particular, the unemployment rate is, okay, somebody says it's low. Yes, I could. So Antoine, okay, so you could hear me talking? Yeah, yes, I could. Okay. So you could hear Roosevelt or you could hear me. Let me know specifically if you could hear me or hear which one it was. Like, were you able to hear him or hear me or hear both when he was? Okay, someone says I can hear you during the clip. Okay, thank you, Peter. Sorry about that. I didn't mean to. I'm still learning. Forgive me if everything doesn't come out right. But I'm doing my best. I promise you. I wanted you guys to see that clip because that really, I think, exemplifies the fact that we have to pick winning strategies. The fact is that we choose strategies that are not designed for you to win. A lot of the reason that you have strategies that are not designed for you to win is because your strategies are given to you by people who win when you lose, whose success is built off your failure. So if I, if let's say we're sharing a chocolate cake, and if I get more cake when you eat less cake, and you say, well, how much cake should I eat today? Then I'm going to tell you to not eat any cake. I'm going to say cake is bad for you, right? And you should go eat vegetables or eat something else, right? And I'm going to keep the cake for myself, right? So ultimately, when you're talking about strategies for success that are given to black people, they are typically the strategies that other people that your oppressor gives you that are wired for you to fail, that are not built on you being successful. They are not built to make you the winner of the game. Why would they want you to win a game when it is what they call, economists call it a zero-sum game? A zero-sum game is when, when you win, I lose. When I win, you lose. So why in the world would I ever give you advice? If the Cavs are playing against the Bulls and the Cavs are asking the Bulls, well, do we want, which basket should we shoot in? Should we shoot in that one or should we shoot in that one? Should we take the points or should we give you the points? Well, the Bulls are going to say, well, no, you should give us all the points. Give us all the points, right? And so, but the thing is that you are susceptible to that kind of vulnerability or to that kind of misleading outcome when you think that your enemy is actually your friend, when your enemy comes disguised as your friend, when they come disguised as the person who's saving and helping you, and so you're going to do what they tell you to do. So what I would generally say, now Khalif is right. Khalif Muhammad says strategies that were made before we were born. Absolutely. The people in power use some of the same old strategies they've used against us for centuries. And that's absolutely true. The first fundamental mistake that black people actually make is when we let white people educate our kids. When we let these white women from the suburbs educate black boys, they don't understand them, they don't like them, they're scared of them, they don't teach them right, and we keep sending our children to these individuals in droves. Why do you do it? You don't do it because it makes sense. You never actually sat down and thought about it and said, if I have a choice, do I send my child to the white lady or do I send my child to somebody that's going to teach them how to be black, right? You never actually made that choice. Somebody just said, well, your kids are sick, you need to send them to school. That's because everybody else does it. That's what you're supposed to do. So you did everything you were supposed to do. That's pretty much the way you were trained. That's how you were taught. And so what I really am trying to encourage you to do is not do what I say. Don't do what I say. Do what comes from your heart and your spirit and your intellect based on what you observe. Gather information and realize that when it comes to your house and your family, you are the president of that community. You are the president of the United States as far as your kids are concerned. You can make the decisions that work for your family. Make that right decision based on what you know and what you observe, not on what people are telling you to do, because people will lead you and your children off a cliff. That's what they will do. One of the things I will say is, when I go back to that point, when I was thinking about, it's so strange. I mean, you would think that I would have known 20 years ago that white people didn't like me, but it really hit me. Not that white folks don't like me, but more so, I was thinking about how I grew up kind of thinking that if I worked hard and I was a good person and I had skill and I wasn't lazy and all these other things, that good things were going to happen. And what I will tell you is that I realized, I said, it doesn't matter how many degrees I have. It doesn't matter how hard I work. It doesn't matter what kind of person I am. This system is not built to sustain somebody like me. And I'm not worried so much about me. This ain't a pity party about me. I don't care about, I ain't worried about the fate of Boyce Watkins, because Boyce is going to be all right. Boyce got out that shit. Boyce walked away from that shit a long time ago. But I'm thinking about all the millions of other people who feel the exact same way, who don't feel like they have a choice, who feel like they have nowhere to go. Or they're deciding, do I go with the strategy where I hope that if I do the right thing and I stick with the system and I behave, things are going to happen, or do I just go for it and see if I can get out of here and fight for my freedom? Well, in a way, it's a lot like maybe if somebody sticks you up with a gun and they tie your hands behind your back, put you up against the wall, turn your face to the wall, and you're thinking that they may kill you or they may not, right? So what's the challenge, right? The challenge is that you're thinking, okay, I don't want to make them mad because they might kill me. But then again, if I don't fight and they're going to kill me anyway, then I'm going to be dead, right? So maybe you're thinking I better not fight back because they're going to kill me if I do fight back. Well, I'm going to tell you what, white America's going to kill you. They're going to shoot you in the head. They're not going to kill you physically. I'm not saying physically. Some people, Walter Scott got killed physically, right? And they won't even convict that cop for murdering Walter Scott on video, right? But they're going to kill you at least spiritually. They're probably going to kill you economically. They're definitely going to kill you politically, and they're going to also kill you socially. Those are areas where we know that death is certain for you. They're going to kill you even if you behave, even if you follow the rules. You're behaving in an appropriate way, or you not misbehaving, and you behaving the way they want you to behave. All that does not increase your likelihood of eventually being free. Your being well behaved only makes it easier for them to slaughter you. It makes it easier for them to finally kill you when they finally squeeze that trigger, which is inevitable based on historical activity and performance, based on everything you're seeing in the data. There's nothing that I see anywhere that tells me that if a black man goes in corporate America and is well behaved and does what he's supposed to do, that he's going to get the same opportunities as a white guy. It doesn't happen. All the data says that's just not true. So my argument is, if you're going to get fucked anyway, if you're going to get shot anyway, you might as well fight for your life. And I swear to God, these are the things I think about. I think about the weirdest stuff. I'm a confirmed weirdo, and I'm damn proud of it, because I think about stuff like that. Like, I'll watch a movie. Like, I'll watch Narcos or something, Pablo Escobar, that show. That's a good show. It's on Netflix. And I'll be thinking, what would I do if somebody had a gun to my head and they were like, stay still, and I didn't know if they were going to kill me or not. And I was, because you see that all the time, right? And the person doesn't move. They don't fight. Because, or like maybe the guy gets caught stealing and they bring him in and he's tied up and they're about to kill him and he's just sitting there and they're like stay still because they got the gun and did you take the money, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, well, what would I do? Would I sit there? And then you sit there, right? They sit there and they get shot. They get shot in the head, right? After they get the information or whatever, right? Or would I fight? And I was like, I made a decision. I said, if I'm ever in a situation like that, which God forbid, I hope I'm never in that situation. Don't nobody want to go through that. But if I was, I said, if that shit ever happens to me, I'm going to fight like hell, because that is my only chance of winning if I think that you're probably going to kill me. I don't think that I could go into a death trap sitting there it's quietly and still, knowing that I'm only going to make it easier for you to shoot me. If you're going to kill me, you're going to have to fight to kill me. I'm going to be that nigga you can't kill. I'm going to be the hardest murder victim that you've ever encountered in your life, because I'm not going to let you just kill me while I sit there in silence, not fighting back, because I'm afraid of what the consequences might be. So my point in the matter of all this is to say, look, here's the thing. A lot of y'all are scared. A lot of y'all are scared to go out here and try to do something on your own. You're scared to be black. You're scared to try to, to try to, whatever it is you're trying to do. You got a dream. A lot of times you're scared of the dream because you're scared, like, oh my gosh, well, if I don't behave, then white people will punish me, or my job is going to come get me, or I'm just not going to have, I might lose some friends or whatever. And in fact, I see a lot of friends, for example, when they get really black on Facebook, all their white friends, like, unfriend them or get really nervous because they're like, oh my God, Melissa, I didn't know that you had all this in you, right? Well, I just kind of feel like you should just be who you're going to be. I think that, you kind of have to have an F it mentality. I'm not going to say fuck it, because I keep trying not to cuss. I think you really have to kind of have a mindset where you say, I don't know what's going to happen, but I definitely know if I sit around here trying to please the people who hate me the most, I'm definitely not going to win. The only thing I'll get there is a slow, soft, subtle death. Right? Maybe they'll kill me quickly instead of killing me slowly. That might be the only outcome I can hope for. So I might as well fight back. Because the thing about it is, and when I use that term, being black in public, when I created that podcast and I called it Being Black in Public, that actually had meaning, because I remember thinking about, consciously deciding like that I was going to come out of my shell and just be who I wanted to be, and be honest about racism, be honest about, like, for example, be honest about the fact that when I worked at Syracuse University and the finance department hadn't promoted a black man in over 100 years. That's despicable. That's disgusting. Y'all worse than the Klan. The Ku Klux Klan couldn't have had a worse hiring record or promotion record than y'all have. And you expect me to be quiet about that as a condition for my employment? You think that me pointing out the obvious to you is somehow making me a radical Negro? Is that how oppressed you have me right now, that I'm even scared to tell you the truth about your disgusting behavior without feeling like somehow I'm going to be punished like I did something wrong? And the thing is, we have black people that serve as backup dancers to white supremacy. Backup dancers. And what do I mean by that? You have that one black person who does speak up on the obvious, who tells the truth about racism, and they'll have the black friends that'll be like, girl, oh no, you can't say that. Don't say that to the Walmart executives. You'll never get that promotion. And then you say, but I'm right. Like, this ain't right what they're doing. Yeah, but you can't do that. Don't say that around the white folk. Like, I'm not tiptoeing around nobody. I don't want to do that. Why would you want to do that? Why do you want to live like that? I mean, don't you understand that frustration, racial frustration, breeds all kinds of energy? It breeds rage. It breeds, just all this anger and humiliation and desire to retaliate. All this emotion that you feel, all this energy that you generate is inside of you. And you get to a space where you can't let that out. So you got to hold that inside of you. Now, I'm not a doctor. I'm not a metaphysicist or any of that. But it almost seems like it's a cancer. When you take all that energy, all that anger, and you don't let it out and you hold it in, then what's going to happen? You're going to get an ulcer. You're going to get some heart disease. You're going to get all kinds of hypertension. You're going to be stressed out to the point where your doctor's like, I don't know what's wrong with you, but you're going to die, right? So I say, let it out. Let it out. Because I'm gonna tell you that's a reward in itself. When you finally get to be who you want to be, and you get to tell the truth. Like, sometimes I'll be like, dang, Boyce, I'll be like, man, I want to cuss right now. I have something that makes me so mad. I just want to say fuck it. But then I'll be like, oh frick it, or oh screw it, and literally I'll feel a twist in my stomach where I'll be like, Boyce, that wasn't what you really wanted to say. You wanted to say fuck it. You need to let it out. But then I'll be like, no. But Boyce, if you say fuck it, then people are gonna think somehow. How people are about profanity. They get all sensitive about it. They're gonna think that you're not being scholarly. But then there's the other side that says, no, Boyce, go ahead and say fuck it. That's how you feel. Let it out. or if you hold it in, you're going to feel like you were not authentic. You're going to feel like you were 80% of who you're meant to be as opposed to 100%. And do you want to live life knowing that you could have been 100% when you let yourself only operate at 75, 80% because you're scared of what people are going to think? A lot of y'all don't do what you want to do. You're not the person you want to be. You don't live the life you want to live because you're scared of what other people are going to think. And I'm going to tell you what's going to happen. You're going to hit your deathbed and you're going to realize that other people's opinions don't matter, that they don't mean anything. And you missed out on opportunities because you could have went for the touchdown, but instead you settled for the field goal. You could have taken 100 yards, but instead you stopped at 72 yards because you were too scared to go all the way. So go all the way. That's all I would just say is go all the way. And so, in terms of, life, my perspective, you want my point of view? My point of view is that somebody says, I bet he's married to a white woman. Is he talking about me? That's probably a troll. Y'all know I ain't married to no white woman. Give me a break. Anyway, God bless the white women that are here. I'm sure you're wonderful people, but no, y'all can't compare to black women. Come on now. But anyway, let me go back. Let me refocus. Let me do a woosah and stop for a minute and remind you, if you're online, if you're on Facebook, or if you're on Twitter or Periscope, please share. Please hit the share button. Please hit the follow button. Please bring other people into the conversation so that they can join us. Take 1 second real quick to do that. And also, we actually have, if you want to see the Black Wealth calendar, we actually have these calendars for everybody that wants to build black wealth in their families, Christmas. And we would hope that you would also get something educational for your family in addition to just, all the consumer items. So the Black Wealth calendar is something we created. The calendar you get doesn't fold like the book. When they sent me the book, I said, no, I don't want the book. I want it to be something that people can hang on their refrigerator. So the one you get will actually hang, but I just wanted you guys to kind of see the imagery inside. So inside you have black people building wealth and all kinds of stuff like that. And basically in here, every month has a theme. So July is investing month. So in this calendar, you actually have tips on investing, how to get started with investing, as well as August, for example. August is real estate month. So here there are tips on getting started in real estate, as well as information on real estate, and et cetera, et cetera. Now, the reason that we created the calendar, and the reason I also created the financial flashcards, is because what I realize is that when I'm talking about wealth, y'all know I was a finance professor for 23 years. When I talk about wealth, I realized that my biggest obstacle was actually the subconscious. It's actually habits. It's actually the deep habit that we have of kind of ignoring wealth building when we get together with family, ignoring the importance of family when it comes to developing economic empires, feeling that we're somehow victimized by American free enterprise as opposed to being able to be adequate participants in American free enterprise, right? And so I thought that a calendar would be perfect because a calendar is something you see every day. You're looking at it all the time. You're memorizing the tips because you're going to see them 30 days in a row. And actually, we even have a class that goes with the calendar if you're interested in that. And in fact, in the class, you get a free calendar if you want to sign up for that. So if you want to buy a calendar, you can go to theblackwealthcalendar.com. That's theblackwealthcalendar.com. And also the class, if you want to know about the class is called myblackwealthyear.com. That's myblackwealthyear.com. So theblackwealthcalendar.com, myblackwealthyear.com. Those are the two URLs you can go to. Now, I think somebody's putting up a $sign or something about a sales pitch or something like that. Absolutely. Are we here for money? Yes, we are partly here for money because we have 20 black people that we pay every month. Our bills are $60,000 a month. So in order for us to do this, we are not going to beg money for white people for money. We're not begging corporate America for money. I'm not out cooning for a factory in order to do this. I am actually building a business, and every black businessman is not a crook. If I was selling you malt liquor and cigarettes and cocaine, then yes, I would be a bad person, but I'm actually getting you to invest in yourself for education. And because I'm a college professor, you can actually get a college education for just a few $100s over time, as opposed to $100,000 that white universities charge you for, so they can bring your child to campus and ignore you for 4 years and mistreat you for 4 years. So yes, that is what we do, and that is what we offer to people. So my PhD is very real. I'm not a person who got a PhD on the internet or a person who got a PhD last weekend. I'm not a self-proclaimed financial guru. I have a 157-page dissertation on financial theory and asset pricing and the stock market that you can go look up anywhere. So if you're not sure, if you're ever wondering about my credentials, please feel free to go take a look. But of course, whenever a black man has a business, somebody thinks he's a crook. And so if you want to check my background, please go do so. We are not crooks. We actually offer you something that's going to make your life better. All right. Now, the other thing I want you to do is we have the Black Code Challenge right now. And now the Black Code Challenge is something that I put together to encourage black people to work together. Somebody sent me the Black Code. It's a brother named Demetrius out of St. Louis. He runs Black Money Matters. And Demetrius, I owe Demetrius a lot of respect because he's actually keeps me in the loop on so much stuff. Like, I didn't know that there's this rapper, Young M.A., who's like, apparently she's the biggest rapper in the country now. I mean, she's bigger than everybody. I guess she's only been around for about a year and a half. And he said, well, you know, Young M.A. mentioned you in her verse this week because you're the person that made her famous. And I was like, I did? I knew I made her famous. That's what she's been telling people, that me putting her on my Facebook page made her famous. And I didn't know what to think about that, but I was happy for her. I mean, I don't know her. I haven't met her. But she actually mentioned something like about me in a verse in a freestyle she just released. So I thought that was really interesting. It made me think about, you know, all the rappers that I talk to. And a lot of y'all out here want to be rappers. You have children that want to be rappers, stuff like that. And one of the things I talk to, and I counsel a lot of artists now, I talk a lot with D1, for example. And one of the things that we talk a lot about is the power of music when it comes to shaping the minds of children. I love talking to D1 because D1 is a teacher and he's a businessman and he's a good human being. And what D1 does is he uses music as a way to influence young people to do good things. A lot of our kids have been brainwashed to destroy themselves from the music that they listen to. They've been brainwashed into killing each other, into staying high and drunk all the time, into making irresponsible decisions when it comes to sex, to being proud of being ignorant, being proud of going to prison. That's something the whites and Jews put on y'all. These are white and Jewish corporations that are paying coon-ass Negroes to go out here and spit a message on your children that is designed to destroy them. Remember, the power of the subconscious mind is really deep. So one of the things I say to artists when I talk to them is I help them understand, look, when you talk about what this music does, understand music moves people. It affects young people. My assistant told me that, back to the rapper Young M.A., she told me that her daughter's school had Young M.A. Day, that all the kids decided that for one day they were all going to come to school and dress like Young M.A. And I said, wow, her influence is profound. So when I heard that Young M.A. wanted to talk to me in New York, and I hope that we get a chance to chat at some point. She's big now, so she's very busy. So maybe it'll happen. Somebody reached out recently and said that she still wants to talk. And I don't know how we can make that happen because I don't know how to call her people or anything. If you know her, please feel free to, connect us somehow. But anyway, one of the things I would probably say to her is two things that I would say to any artist. Number one, if you want to go into entertainment, make sure you know business. Make sure you know business as well as you know music. You can't know music and not know business, because if you know music and don't know business, then the business people will rob you. They will eventually take all your money, and you'll be broke. You'll end up in jail somewhere like Bobby Shmurda when all these people make money off you and nobody cares about you. Number two, make sure you understand that when you spit these lyrics out to these children are grabbing this, grabbing these words, and they're internalizing this, right? And so, do you really want to be responsible for a child growing up and becoming a killer? I mean, do you want to be responsible for a child growing up and becoming a rapist? Do you want to be responsible for an innocent child growing up and becoming an alcoholic or a drug addict? Do you want to be responsible for an innocent child growing up and ending up in prison where they're getting raped every day, right? People talk about rape and sexual assault. Well, I say, well, look, you can't talk about sexual assault if you're not talking about prison rape, because more rapes happen in prison than happen outside of prison. And the worst thing about prison rape is that it's worse than regular rape. And let me tell you why. If you get raped outside of prison, you're able to go to the police, file a report. They protect you. You're the victim now. Nobody's gonna hurt you. You get to avoid your perpetrator and move on with your life and be safe and protected and everything else. In prison, you might get raped on Monday, and then you get no trial, no justice, no nothing. You might get raped again on Tuesday. And then Thursday, you might see your perpetrator at breakfast. He might rape you again on Friday, and it might happen to you over and over and over again for the next 20 years. So the bottom line is that when you're talking about where we're sending our kids, we need to look at what this music is doing to our children, because a lot of our kids could grow up to become amazing things. They could grow up and become whatever they want to be. They can become billionaires. They can become scientists. They can become philosophers and lawyers and artists and everything else. But instead, the music trains them, the music catches them early, and next thing you know, they're trying to be a thug nigga. Seriously, that, like, I'm using that term in the music. I'm a thug nigga. I ain't nothing but a thug nigga. I ain't trying to be Mark Zuckerberg. I ain't trying to be Bill Gates. I just want to be a thug nigga. Well, who told you to be a thug nigga? When you came in this earth as a baby, you didn't even know what a thug nigga was. Somebody trained you on niggerology. They trained you on how to be a thug nigga, how to behave like a thug nigga, how to get the tattoos that match a thug nigga, how to dress like a thug nigga, how to shoot like a thug nigga, how to get your hair like a thug nigga. You had to get trained. You've been trained every single day. The power of the subconscious mind, the power of brainwashing. You've been trained on thug niggerology every single day of your life since you were a baby, and nobody stopped that process. Nobody stopped that process. So my goal is, in my tiny little world, my tiny little way, with my tiny little space, is to do everything I can to help stop the process, to stop the damage before it gets too deep. Because that's what happens. Your children get infected with the psychological cancer at an early age, and you must stop the cancer before it spreads. Because once it spreads, they're done. I guess they call it metastasizing or something. Once it metastasizes, you are done. So anyway, now see, there's just somebody, Money Farmer says, I feel more comfortable in a rich neighborhood than in the ghetto. Wow. He can't be black. He's either a white guy or a coon. All right. So anyway, moving on. Let's talk about let's talk about this other thing going on real quick. I saw this. Now, does anybody know what's going on with this situation with Walter Scott? I want to somebody give me an update on Walter Scott's situation, because I got a call from Demario Solomon Simmons about this case. He's a prominent attorney out in Tulsa, Oklahoma, and he was very upset about this case. It looks like, according to the New York Daily News, remember Walter Scott now, just to remind y'all, Walter Scott was the brother who was shot in the back by the police officer. The police officer shot him in the back. It was caught on camera. He was running. Walter Scott was running away. He had no weapon. The cop shot him in the back. He hit the ground, and the guy took the taser and put it next to his dead body, planted next to his dead body. And so now the cop is on trial. The officer's name is Michael Slager. And now let me tell you what's going on with this case. So according to New York Daily News, in the next few days, and maybe as early as Monday, we're going to find out in the case of the shooting death of Walter Scott, if murder is still against the law in South Carolina. This isn't about all police officers in this country being on trial the way Michael Officer Slager is. This is about Slager being on trial for a terrible and ultimately tragic few minutes in North Charleston, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. He pulled Scott over because he had a broken tail light. That's why he pulled him over. It wasn't just that. Of course, once Slager pulled Scott over, there was a scuffle between the two men, and Scott ended up taking Slager's taser and pointing at him. The former officer testified. So the officer tried to testify that Slager pulled out that Walter Scott grabbed his taser and basically aimed it at him, and then he had to shoot him. That's what the officer said. That was the lie that he told. But somebody had a video camera, and the officer did not know about it. So basically that was Slager's story that he put on the police report. Now what actually happened was, as you saw in video, Walter Scott was running away unarmed, and the cop shot him in the back twice and killed him, and then planted the taser next to his dead body. So let me see here. So in that moment, on that day, this became so many other moments in America over the past few years when it came down to a white cop and a black man who didn't have to die by cop gun. Okay, so let me see here. I want to see what's going on with the jury. Now, there's apparently one slow-thinking juror, so apparently the writer of this article has an opinion, who is actually buying that cockeyed version of things. Slager said he was trained to do what he did that day. What threat was he trying to stop as Scott ran away from him? What was he afraid of? That Scott might be out of range if he didn't open fire when he did. So there's one juror on this jury that's holding up the jury and not allowing for a guilty verdict for this cop. And what this really says to me is that there are people mostly white people now, mostly white people, but there are some black people who feel this way, who are basically saying that a cop can and should never be convicted of anything. That cops deserve to have complete total immunity from all crimes whatsoever. That we will never convict them, even if they're caught on video murdering somebody in cold blood. And I think that that really is sort of a reminder. I mean, if you didn't know that America hated you before today, if you were not aware that America hated you before today, now you know. Now you got all your evidence. Now you got all your proof. The fact is that there's absolutely nothing that that could be said about this case that would say that this person deserves to walk free. But because the standard of justice when it comes to black people is set so low, for black men that's set so low, that we need clear-cut cases like this to even get basic justice. So this system is not only broken, it was never designed to be anything other than what it is right now. And I think that's something that you may have heard, but it's something that's absolutely true. This system was not it was not meant to be anything other than what you're seeing. So what I would say to you is pay attention and just understand that in America, one of the things you have to understand is that maybe as a black person, you might want to leave or at least get your passport. I was talking to my son the other day. He's my adopted son. I only have one biological child. And I told him, I said, you got a passport? And he said, no. I said, you need a passport. Because one of the things that black people need to understand is that the world is bigger than America. A lot of times because we think we can't do any better or we don't have anywhere else we can be, we stay here because we think the rest of the world is so horrible. I've been to other countries. I've been to Ghana and South Africa and Nigeria and China and Latin America and everything else. And I'll tell you that those other places are actually quite nice. So, for black people, I just think that America is such a sick, dysfunctional country. The election of Donald Trump kind of tells you a lot, not because so much about, of what Donald Trump is. Trump himself doesn't bother me as much as some of the people that love Donald Trump, right? Some of the people who've gotten bold because of Donald Trump's presidency. That's what I'm really paying attention to are the people that, again, because everybody's choosing the lesser of two evils, whether you're conservative or liberal, everybody's kind of choosing the person who gives them the most of what they want. And so a lot of these nationalists, these white nationalists, these Klan members, etc., that are supporting Donald Trump really sort of is raising the stink of America out so everybody can smell it. It's pulling all the roaches out of the closet. Even the trolls on Twitter have gotten a little bit bolder because they're starting to feel like their racism is justified and that somehow they have this opportunity to take America back to the dark ages. And I would just say to black people that, if this does not tell you clearly what you're dealing with, that you're dealing with a competitive environment, a very nasty political atmosphere. If this doesn't tell you that, I don't know what does. And the reason I tell you that is not so you can be mad about it and complain about it and go hold another march and a rally. It's so you will unify. It's so that you will understand the one fundamental truth about life in America is that ain't nobody going to take care of you. Ain't nobody out here really going to have your back. Ain't nobody really going to come save you. Ain't nobody going to give you integration and assimilation and cooperation and acceptance and all these other things. In fact, even when you use terms like equality, I don't even like that term. It's like we want equality and inclusion because we just want acceptance and assimilation. We just want to be in there and just have you love us because we need you to love us because we don't love ourselves and we need you to love us so we can feel that we're worthy of love. That's a sick thing to say to somebody who hates your guts. I mean, that's a really sick thing to say to somebody who's proven time and time again that they don't like you. So rather than achieving or working toward equality and inclusion, if I was you, I would work toward competition. I would work toward what's the word? I would work toward strength. I would work toward even some form of domination of your environment, territorialism. Yeah, and when I say that, what I mean is having a space that's just yours. We're hunkering this down. For example, in my space, in my business, where I operate, in my clan, in my tribe, I'm the boss. We run this. You come in the Black Wealth Boot Camp, it's black people. This is a black space. You can be white and still be there. You could be Asian, you could be Indian, you could be Arab, you could be anything and come into my class. I will never tell anybody they can leave. I will never mistreat anybody. I'm not like that. I'm not a nasty, disrespectful person. But you don't you come in here thinking that this is your house. This ain't your house. This is our house. Period. So what I think is that black people got to figure out, what is your house? What is your house? What do you own? What do you control? What's yours? Don't be talking about like these gangbangers talking about this is my block. No, that ain't your block. That block belongs to somebody else. Somebody else owns all the property on this block. So you don't really own that block. You just claiming Massa's plantation, but Massa could put you out any day of the week. He can come gentrify your ass into oblivion and think nothing of it. What is yours? What is your territory? What is your true turf? Because that's how the world works. That's when I tell you that economics is built on gang mentality, gang warfare. That's what I'm talking about. All right. One book I want you to read, I want to recommend this book for anybody who hasn't read it yet. I want you to read Black Labor, White Wealth by Dr. Claude Anderson. This is the required reading for the Black Wealth Bootcamp as well. And I love this book, and I read it a lot, and I meditate on it because it kind of gives you the history of this country. Most of the people who either hate black people or are fearful of white people or have admiration for white people are people who haven't read books like this. They don't know how America came to be what it is. So you can kind of forgive them. So when you see a stupid troll who says something ignorant, just forgive them because they're just speaking from a position of ignorance. They've never read books, so they don't really know how America was built. They don't know how many advantages they were given. They don't know these things. So don't get mad at them. Just sort of feel sorry for them because they're coming from a position where they lack the knowledge necessary in order to make accurate decisions. If somebody's asking me to hold the book still so you can take a screenshot, so I'm gonna hold the book still so you can take a screenshot. And if you want to know other books that I recommend, you can actually go to the drboycelibrary.com. That's the drboycelibrary.com. The drboycelibrary.com. You can see other books I recommend, like I recommend black people read the autobiography of Malcolm X. I recommend that black people read. I got some wealth-related books in there. Some of the books are actually written by white people too. I don't think that everything a white man says is evil or anything like that. I'm just not going to be subordinated to him, and he wouldn't be subordinated to me, so he should respect that. You can't interpret black love as white hatred. Or what? You think I'm an enemy now? You think I don't like you because I demand to be at least equal to you? Well, if you have a problem with me not being subordinated to you and you interpret my lack of willingness to subordinate as some sort of a threat to you, then that's your problem. That's not my problem. That's your bias. That's not my bias. That's your lack of fairness. That's not my lack of fairness. So when I tell you that I'm not your boy and I'm not going to let you treat me like a boy, and I'm not, sorry. No, I'm not taking your charity. I'm not going to let you treat me like I'm some sort of little project for you, some sort of Negro project. They do, like they start feeling guilty, and so they do a little bit for black people, and they start to feel like you should be like kissing their ass and thanking them. I can't do that. I'm not that guy because I'm not meant to be your boy. I'm actually a man, and even if it takes me a little bit longer and I got to do it by myself, that's okay. I'm gonna build my little stuff brick by brick, but it'll be mine when it's done. Anyway, if you go to the drboycelibrary.com, you can check out those books. And don't forget, if you want to buy a Black Wealth calendar, if you are interested, we have the Black Wealth calendar. This will allow you to teach Black Wealth to your kids and to your family. And we have other programs. The URL to check out for all the programs that we have is blackfinancialliteracy.com. That's blackfinancialliteracy.com. That's where everything's at. So you can go check out blackfinancialliteracy.com. Don't forget to share this too also if you haven't done that already. Now, let me show you another clip. I want you guys to see this other clip real quick of this brother who, hold on, give me a second here. Okay, of this brother who actually is, he's a former corrections officer, and he was beaten by the cops. And he's very emotional. He's actually crying in the video. And it's really kind of a telling example of just kind of what we're dealing with in this country, what black men are dealing with, what black women are dealing with as well. And just watch the clip, and it's really despicable. So
I've never been cursed, physically abused, beaten, treated like a slave as I was 2 days ago.
Ronald Lanier broke down, describing how he landed in handcuffs and the hospital while innocently shopping at Western Beef Wednesday. He says Garden City police threw him down and beat him without explanation.
And for somebody to grab me by the neck at the supermarket, and I'm telling you, I'm one of you, and you disrespected. It was just like, you just another black dude.
He too wears a badge, retired after 2 decades as a Nassau corrections officer. He claims he complied and explained he's law enforcement, but cops laughed.
When you don't have a good description, you don't just start scooping up black people. That time is gone.
Surrounded by civil rights activists, Lanier spoke of bruises to his body and his dignity. After 20 minutes in a squad car, the real perpetrator was found, a heavier man. These cops let Lanier go without a word. We reached out to Garden City Police, now being sued for their side of the story. They declined but did provide context. They were chasing a fleeing shoplifting suspect. The perpetrator abandoned his getaway car on the railroad tracks, then fled into Western Beef. A case of mistaken identity, but officers with blacks in law enforcement in America say it happens all too often.
And we're hoping that the Garden City Police Department will come forward with respect, identifying their officers, disciplining their officers.
Lanier understands the difficult work of brother officers, but says there's no excuse for brutal racial profiling.
I'm tired of hearing officers constantly talking about we have to retrain. We don't have to retrain. We gotta let them be held accountable for their actions.
He wants them stripped of their badges. In Nassau County, Long Island, Carolyn Gussoff, CBS 2 News.
Western Beef does have interior security cameras, but would not share any video with us, and we'll stay on this story.
I've never been cursed, physically abused, beaten, treated like a slave as I was 2 days ago.
Ronald Lanier broke down, describing how he landed.
Okay, so did y'all see that? First and foremost, I want to give my condolences to this brother for what he went through. And, what also really struck me was, I was actually quite proud of the fact that blacks in law enforcement really took a stand on this. They really spoke up on this. Because what I really think when it comes to corrupt cops is that you're going to need the so-called good cops to step up and report the bad cops. You're going to need the good cops to do something. If you're a so-called good cop, somebody says I got an echo. Do I have an echo? Tell me if I have an echo. Okay, hold on. Give me 1 second. Okay, is the echo gone? Let me know if the echo's gone. If the echo's gone, then we'll be in good shape. I hope the echo's gone. Okay. All right. So, in my opinion, if the good cops don't step up and do something about the bad cops, then it's going to be difficult to fight the system. And so, let's see. Somebody's saying, yeah. Okay. So, yeah. Does that mean that the echo's still there? Okay. You know what? I'm going to go ahead and let you guys go because I don't know why there's this echo. Next time I try to hook up my microphone so it'll come through better. But anyway, let me get on out of here, and I'll come back on a little bit later and try to figure out what the source of the echo is. And I love you guys, and it's awesome talking to you, and I hope you have a wonderful day. And once again, I'm sorry about this damn echo. I don't know what the hell's going on with that. So I'll talk to you soon. Take care.